So after students have shared why they quoted others when talking, we note that authors do the same thing. They quote people to help make the text more interesting or to help prove a point. For instance, let's take a look at this article that appeared in the newspaper The USA Today. It was titled New Citizenship Exam Democracy 101. So these first couple of paragraphs are focused on how the questions on the immigration test have changed, but the author quoted somebody. When I notice the author using a quote, I want to stop and ask myself why that person was quoted. So here's a quote let's take a look at. The goal is to make it more meaningful, says Emilio Gonzalez, the Director of Citizenship and Immigration Services. He says the current test relies too much on memorization. Immigrants who study and pass the new one, he says, will gain a better understanding and respect for U.S. values. You really ought to know what you're swearing allegiance to, he says. I obviously don't know Gonzalez, so I note that the author told me what he does. He's the Director of Citizenship and Immigration Services. I suspect he's got some real opinions about the new exam. It looks like he thinks these changes are important. He says this makes the exam more meaningful, and this comment about knowing what someone is swearing allegiance to shows me he is thinking the test is very important. I think the author is showing me a voice of authority who supports this change. If we continue to read the article, we can point out some more quoted material. This time the quotes are from several high school students who have taken the new immigration test describing the article. So again, we'll share our thinking, and that's what they're talking about in the section right here. And if we notice, there's a quote here from Andrew McDaniel and later on Lisa Hines. They say, this stuff they should know, Andrew McDaniel says. Classmate Lisa Hines says the new test requires more thinking about U.S. government, which could be a tough challenge for immigrants. We've had a longer time to think about it and what it means. I see that the author had turned to high school students. Now he's given me a personal perspective of people who have taken the test. Their comments are interesting, but it makes me wonder, why didn't he talk with immigrants? Then I realized that no immigrants have taken the test because it's new. It's good that the author is sharing opinions of high school students because like immigrants who have been studying for the citizenship exam, they too have been studying U.S. history and U.S. government. This use of personal perspective is a powerful reminder that the test will affect regular people. Next, let's take a couple quotes out of a longer article. And so we'd start out by reading the quotes and having the students discuss it. So in this article, the drought devastating California farms, drying up jobs, goes on, and here are a couple of quotes we'll have students discuss. 2015 is going to be significantly worse than 2014, says Richard Howitt, an agriculture and resource economics expert at the University of California, Davis. Drought relief did not come this winter, California's wet season, as they had hoped. Though California is the third largest state in landmass, nearly all of the states is abnormally dry at best and in exceptional drought at worst. There's been a lot of drought of some extent for multiple years now, and it doesn't look like it's going to be ending anytime soon, Storm Shield meteorologist Jason Myers said. So I'd have the students think about, why were these two quotes important? Why were they put in here? And then also note that what were the author doing? And he was including some authoritative voices on that. And then he also used a quote where we had this meteorologist making a prediction. So he's using his expert opinion and his background and experience to convey to the readers what he thinks is most likely going to happen in the future. So now if we've modeled this for a couple times, we'd give students a try. We could pull some passages or some articles and have them read through and identify what do they think, why do they think the author has included that quote, and then what specifically type of quote was it? Was it other words? Was it personal perspective? Was it voices of authority? And then have some discussions.